Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. How's everybody doing? I trust everybody is doing fine. Let me get to my chats and give my regular salutes. Welcome aboard. First in the house, El Señor AVQ. Back from gaming break, watching from Twitch, he says. Welcome aboard, AVQ from Brooklyn, New York. Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, sis. How you doing? Beautiful. We also have Patrick Mackner in from Houston, Texas. So we're up to 3 states now. Paul Fleminger. Why do we get that wrong? From Powder Springs, Georgia. We have Vicky McDaniel, Meg Grant. How you doing? Hi. We have Ina Tuckman, Betts, Alex Hoskins, Sarah Dinner. Jane B. in North Carolina. How you doing, beautiful? And March KJ, La Preciosa, ¿cómo estás? Welcome aboard. Sue is in the house, as well as Amy and Terrence. Thank you all for being here. We got a great show, man. We got a great show for you today. Anyway, it seems after you see one of the videos that I am gonna play, I just got through putting it together, cutting and chopping and putting it together. After you see this video, you're going to see why Donald Trump just told CBS, oh, we've done everything that we needed to do. We've destroyed your Navy. We've destroyed the Air Force. So we are kind of like, we're ready to go. It seems like that's what they're saying, even though earlier on their website, I understand, or Twitter feed, or one of their feeds, I understand, the Defense Department said, oh, we got a lot to go and we still have a lot to do. It's not going to be. Well, you know what? Oil is at $110 a barrel. The economy is falling apart. We can't see an end to this war. Nobody knows what's going to go on. Vegan Cindy from New Hampshire, welcome aboard. But the video that I just prepared, I think is one that you want to see. I'm going to wait a bit more before I play that video. Instead, I'm going to start with the UN ambassador and what he had to say. I played this in the morning. I don't know how many of you watch the morning show, but I cleaned it up and fixed it up. But I want to play this one here and then take it on the other side. So bear with me a second as I cue it up. And then later on, we have a big one to play for you. Here we go. I want to play something from our UN ambassador, and then we'll take it on the other side, because he comes on TV as they're discussing that American bombs killed 160-something young girls in a school, right? I want you to listen to how he responded. And then I want to remind him and remind us all, war is a dirty, nasty thing. And it's not the benevolency of the average American citizen fighting the war. As I try to illustrate in the piece, the war occupies a class warfare and a certain ill of the elitist wealthy from not only the United States, but around the world. But this is what he had to say about that.
Ask you about this critical final issue. More than 170 people, including many children, were killed in a strike on a school in southern Iran last weekend. On Saturday, President Trump said he thinks Iran was behind the bombing, but NBC News and others are reporting that the military's preliminary finding is that it's increasingly likely that a U.S. munition was responsible. Was Iran or the United States responsible, and will the U.S. provide evidence to the American people?
Okay, so look, a couple of things here. One, well, let's let the investigation play out. Number two, again, as a veteran and special operator, we never deliberately attack civilians. If civilians were injured, it's always by accident. Contrast that. I mean, this is really rich coming from the Iranians, who they and their proxies hide caches of weapons and military apparatus in hospitals and schools. We know they do that all over the world. And this is coming from a regime that literally has massacred its own people at an industrial scale. So I don't believe a word coming out of their mouth. Let the investigation play out.
Of course, let the investigation play out, right? Well, let's be clear here. The statement, and this is what gets to me so often, especially being from Panama. I'm a naturalized American citizen. And this hurt to the core, because the reality is when we fight wars, we fight them in general very far from the United States soil. Not only do we fight them very far away from United States soil, but we don't know who these people are that are fighting these wars for us or what they're doing in our name. And you see, it is important for us to understand what's being done in our name. And the reason why is because it's a reflection on us ultimately. I mean, the statement itself, we don't kill the innocent when we go to war purposefully. In Vietnam, when those villages were massacred, specifically Lai was massacred, that wasn't an accidental killing. That was an active kill zone, knowingly what we did. It wasn't some, we accidentally killed these people. No, that was its purpose, to kill people. When George H. Bush, Herbert Walker Bush, invaded Panama to get one person, because the United States have a drug problem. They love their drugs, and I don't have a problem with that. If you like your ganja, your marijuana, your whatever, be free, smoke it. If you like your coke, your speed, whatever you like, as long as you're not impacting somebody else. In my humble opinion, it's none of my business. But you know what? Many of us are in such pain that, like some use alcohol, probably the worst drug on the planet, like some use alcohol to soften their pain. Well, people use marijuana, they use quaaludes, they use all these other drugs that come across the border, because again, as a capitalist country, wherever there's a demand, a supply will show up. My Lai, thank you for that, Cheryl Elkins. My Lai is in Vietnam. Wherever there is a need, supply avails itself. So that's what was done, and Noriega was just sort of like an intermediary. Look, I am not a Noriega fan at all. But what I'm saying is we attempted to supposedly get arrest Noriega for drug purposes. Of course, he was really arrested because he didn't go into Nicaragua and other places that Bush and the CIA wanted him to. But that's another story. They bombed the holy you-know-what out of El Chorrillo. It would have been called El Chorrillo Massacre because, folks, my people in Chorrillo, Panama, were blown up to smithereens. The United States even tested the stealth fighter in Panama. We don't have an Air Force, no real Navy. They were slinging missiles into what's called a Quince Pisos in Colón. The building, it was our first sort of high rise in Colón. Don't tell me we don't kill people for sports that our American military is so magnanimous that it doesn't do that. The rest of the world, people around the world, are experiencing that. It's just not reported here. It's not reported here. So when we go around the world and people say we don't like Americans, they're not talking about the average American people. People love Americans around the world. I spoke in one of my books about having my grandpa's shoes walk in New York and he came to Panama, and I turned that shoe around and looked at the sole of that shoe and said, man, imagine these shoes walked in New York. That is the kind of love folks had for the representation of or what it is supposed to mean. So for many, and specifically many folks who are from places that the United States have invaded with their military, now with our military, we actually know what is done in the name of the United States with our military forces. Chorro, Panama, Venezuela, Haiti, Dominican Republic, all these places have experienced not we only accidentally kill people, but that we actively kill people. I still remember in my town in Colon, when they had a barrier put up, this guy's trying to get insulin to his wife. There's a language barrier. And he's saying, oye, quiero llevar insulina a mi esposa. I want to take the insulin to my wife. And he's lifting up the insulin to show them what he wants to take to his wife, why he needed to cross the barrier. And he was gunned down with a machine gun. Don't tell me we don't kill people for the sake of killing like many other countries. War is a nasty thing, and too much is done in our name. I have a lot more to say, but the calls are on. So come on in, Patrick. Yeah. So anyway, so that I wanted to get that out. Let's be clear here, okay? AVQ says this isn't the same as my lie. This is a bombing of kids from afar while calling the victims part of a terrorist state. My lie in Vietnam was a massacre. Look, my thing is no. Actually, they are the same, my brother. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say simply, we go to other countries and kill the innocent. For whatever reason there is, that's what we do. We go when we supply the equipment to to Israel. Israel plummeted Gaza and killed hundreds of thousands Gaza. We are also responsible for that. That is our doing. When we went into Panama, that's what we did. That is, let's see, Egberto, you couldn't say the whole thing. My lie in Vietnam was a massacre to hide 6 crimes. I get it, but it was a massacre nonetheless. It's a massacre when those bombs killed 176 kids or however many it was. That's where I'm trying to go, my brother. That's where I'm trying to go. We go into other places and we don't look at the lives of these other people. I don't know if you saw the movie AVQ that mimicked that story, the My Life story, right? They don't consider these other people human beings. They didn't consider my folks in Chorrillo human beings. And if you see how after the invasion, they took those bodies and threw them, bulldozed them into holes. If you see what they did in the hangars, there are people from Panama, El Chorrillo, the ones that survived. They put them in the hangars to live for years. And the way they talked to them, it was like animals. Because, again, they do not see people from Panama, from Cuba, from all these places as human beings. They don't. If you take a look at how cavalier the world is, as America is starving Cuba, as America is terrorizing Cuba economically, that is causing the deaths of many. Do you see it? We are on a loop on MS Now right now. And not once within the loop have they mentioned Cuba as far as how the people are dying. Dresden, perfectly, thank you for that, Patrick. Dresden was firebombed, irrespective of what it would do to people. Now, the difference there is, well, these were people, again, I'm not going to go into that technicality. I'm not going to go into that technicality. But the truth of the matter, folks, Panama was 1989 AVQ. But I'm saying the constancy of which we do these things, and for this guy to come on TV and says, "Oh well, when they do it on purpose. When we do it, it's an accident." You remember when Iran I think one of their errant missiles brought down a plane. Then one of ours brought down a plane. They were both accidents, right? But it's important for us not to buy into the thing. Other countries' people are expedient. And we, Americans, have become expedient. If you doubt it, I don't remember what year. I don't remember, but I think I was in the States then when there was this group in Philadelphia. And maybe somebody here can remember and help me out. There was a group in Philadelphia. And I think it was a black group, a cult or something. And in order to get those guys that were doing bad things, they burned down the whole neighborhood, killed a lot of people. Anybody remember that? I think it was Philadelphia. I'm not sure. MS now have any of the anchors talked about Israel's involvement in the attack in Iran? You know what? Have any of them talked about Tel Aviv being bombed and the footage is being hit? Thank you, AVQ. No, but I've seen it. Let me tell you what I've been watching. I've been watching, let's see, Cheryl Elkin says Move. Let's see, Move. Oh, Move. That's the name of the group, Move. Okay, yes, Philly. Thank you, sis. I know, you know what? I know I have the most informed audience, bar none. Bar none. I have the most informed audience. Thank you for that, Cheryl. But look, so there are other places, right, where this has happened, where we just went in and we didn't care. If we want to go in and get something, life's expedient. Expedient. Anyway, I'm not the first to say that. All right. Thank you, buddy. I didn't see that you had the Move one there, AVQ. Thank you for I tell you, man, I got the smartest people listening to the program. That's why you guys have to share it to some of your proteges, etc. All right. Look, I'm going to play another one before I play the big one. The big one is coming, folks, so stick around. The big one is coming. But beforehand, this is a short one, 3 minutes and 50 seconds about the Israeli general mocking Trump. I want you to see this, and then we'll take it on the other side. There's another video I want to play because the rest of the world, including allies, know that Donald Trump is a madman. They know that he's a joke. They know that what he says makes absolutely no sense. Remember, Donald Trump, for all practical purposes, works for Netanyahu, right? Netanyahu can say, okay, Donald, jump. And Donald Trump says, how high would you like me to jump? Okay. Well, Donald Trump has been saying, we knocked everything out of Iran. We knocked down their military programs, their capability of building the nuclear bomb is gone. We knocked it out. Then, of course, in order to go into this war, he's saying, well, they're a week away from being able to produce a bomb, which is true. But anyway, Radat spoke to the brigadier, the admiral of the Israeli military yesterday. And I want you to listen to this because I found it ironic. And for those of you, I hope you're seeing video. For those of you looking at the video, look at this guy's face as if for all practical purposes, he's ridiculing Trump, the guys who they pretty much command. Check this out.
Still have them. We are hitting we are hunting those launchers, and we will do it until they will.
When you say hunting, do you know where they all are, or you're just looking for them?
So predominantly, what we knew we hit already, right? Now they have many more. Some of it we know, some of it we hunt, some of them we assess, and we have many methods together with our allies to detect those launchers, and we are doing so.
What is the goal here? I mean, when you have these phases in this operation, what is the end here?
The meaning is their nuclear capabilities. We are talking about the missile capabilities. Those two elements. The first one we hit back in June, the nuclear project. Now,
did you obliterate it?
Well, President Trump said we obliterated it. Therefore, we did. So this is.
Did you
it is damaged severely.
President Trump demanding unconditional surrender from the Iranians, but it is far from certain those who have been fighting for a new regime, those courageous protesters who were slaughtered by Iranian forces, can now overcome them.
So when she said, wait, but Donald Trump obliterated the thing, right? Well, Donald Trump said he obliterated, so we obliterated. I mean, it was so cavalier the way that went down, the way he said it, right? It was like Donald Trump is a joke. We'll just let him have it. Whatever. I mean, that he is treated with such frivolity is just amazing, folks. It is just amazing. Yes, my beautiful morning. You missed our show this morning, so you got to see this. I did this one in the morning. I just cleaned it up this afternoon, so it's better. LBW just showed up in the house. La profesora, ¿cómo estás, mi amiga? Favorita, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? All right. We also have I saw a message I wanted. Oh, I know. I got a message I want to address. Okay. He's been trying to push this message for a long time because he wants to create dissension in the Democratic Party. All right, Lee the Bearcat, I'll bite. I'll bite, Lee. Lee says, Jesse Jackson's son just broke the Democratic Party by calling out Obama, Biden, and Clinton. Did Jesse Jackson say that they politicized his father's funeral? Yes, he did. But his father's funeral was political. Of course they politicized his father's funeral. You know why he said that, however, Mr. Lee the Bearcat? I love critical thinking, and I hope most of our audience are damn good critical thinkers. I mean, they help me when my mind is fudging. I can always say, "Hey, audience, what is XYZ again?" And we are collectivists. We are crowdsourcers. So somebody in here is going to know something the other one doesn't. But together we are damn smart. And we critically think, Mr. Lee the Bearcat. We make sure not to magarize ourselves, Mr. Bearcat, because we like to learn. And I hope as you stick around, you will be unmagarized. But here's the deal. Thank you for bringing that up. Let's critically think together, Mr. Lee the Bearcat. Why would Jesse Jackson Jr., whose father is Jesse Jackson, who the politicization of that entire thing, I watched a whole lot of it, was done because they wanted to point out that Jesse Jackson's work was important but still not complete. A good thing. A good thing. But what's so special about Jesse Jackson Jr. again? Oh, wait a minute. Under the Obama administration, the Justice Department charged him with using campaign funds and threw him into jail. I don't think he ever blamed Obama overtly for any of that. I don't think he did. But he's carrying a grudge that Obama was so, and I'm not a super fan of Obama, though I like him and I'm proud of him. But Obama did nothing as a special case for Jesse Jackson Jr. to do what Donald Trump normally does, and that is for his friends that are willing to pay, they force the Justice Department not to prosecute. Says, no, if you did the crime, you'll do the time. So Jesse Jackson was forced to do the time for the crime. Now, by criticizing Clinton, Obama, and Biden, what do you think that buys Mr. Jackson? How much do you want to bet that in Mr. Trump's trove of pardons is a request from Jesse Jackson Jr. for a pardon? Because a Democrat is unlikely to give him a pardon. Why would you give Jesse Jackson a pardon when thousands of people that would have committed that crime are unlikely to get one? But you know what? You know who sells pardons? Your president, Lee the Bearcat. So Jesse Jackson Jr. can sweeten the deal by hitting Clinton, hitting Obama, hitting Biden. You know, he hates Biden. He constantly hits Biden. He doesn't like Obama. And it may get him a pardon. You see how critical thinking works, Leader Bearcat? Because I know that everybody, including most of the Jackson family, appreciated that every single speaker out there, whether they knew Jackson closely, knew him at all, or knew some of him, they know he had an impact on them. I know Jesse Jackson had an impact on me. Jesse Jackson had an impact on me by opening my eyes and saying, you know, I tell you, you know, when I use the stuff about let's unite Appalachias, the ghettos, and the barrios, I always say that didn't come from me. I mean, I saw during the campaign when Jesse Jackson, people were fearful that he may actually win. That's what he believed in, the unity, uniting people, putting them together. And that has always been one of my modus operandi. That's why I was in, and earlier you had mentioned the coffee party, Leader Bearcat. That's why I was a board member at the coffee party, which is a transpartisan organization. So, Mr. Bearcat, Leader Bearcat, it's called, my brother, like most people in our chat do, critical thinking. Una vez más lo voy a repetir. Critical thinking. All right, E2247 is in the house. He says, the greatest menace to the U.S. has never been terrorists or assassins or even hostile ideologies, I believe. Nonetheless, the greatest massacre to the U.S. has always been the menace of those persons who work not the common good, but instead work only for their own power, kindergarten to age 100 years. We live with the reality in 2026 with 47 criminal regime. It's the same reality as the menace between the Pilgrims and the Puritans, Julius Caesar and Marcus Brutus, Cain the planter and Abel the hunter-herder, John Wilkes Booth and Abe Lincoln, Lyndon B. Johnson and Ho Chi Minh, George Bush, both of them, and their own egos. And you know, earlier on Substack, I just put, you know, in that same light, brother, on my notes, I put the following. Let's see if I can actually grow it a bit. On my notes, I actually put it, and I'm going to put that one on the screen. And it said the following. And I have it on the screen, and maybe blow it up a little bit. Oh, that's the wrong blow up. I need to go to this screen to blow stuff up. All right. I put on the screen. Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are the two most dangerous leaders to the world and humanity. They are the world's most effective terrorists by both body count and destruction of places around the world. The body count that Donald Trump, along with Netanyahu, has is huge. And by the way, don't think I'm giving Brother Biden a break on that one, because Biden is also complicit. Obama is also complicit in allowing the body count that we get out of Israel with their murder and genocide. And I should use Netanyahu because I don't want my Jewish brothers and sisters to think somehow I'm identifying any of this to them. This is with the Israeli government, specifically Netanyahu. Okay? So I just want to clarify that for my brothers and sisters that are of the Jewish persuasion. All right. Lynette says, Marnie, you were missed. I hope Cheryl Elkins and Egberto get us together again to touch base in the fashion in the future. Oh, I mentioned it in the morning. Our Zoom was wonderful. You know what? And it started out people kind of talking, etc. And you know me, I like to talk and I like to give hugs. I mean, I could only give them air hugs, but what can I say? We had fun, right, guys? We had fun. And the next time it's going to be even more fun because people loosen up and start to talk and tú sabes lo que estoy diciendo. So that's how we are. Así somos aquí en de Panamá. Aquí tenemos mucho amor por nuestros compatriotas. Nos compatriotas PDR posse. Right? So, anyhow, Lita Bierka says, I think those sisters and brothers think it already. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll assume. Egberto, it looks like something AI would Photoshop. The idea is true, though. Yeah, I tell you guys that I use AI for helping me out in these things. I mean, you know where I stand on AI. Patrick and I still have to sit down and drink some coffee over AI because Patrick and I share a few differences in AI. But I want Patrick and all of us to work together to make this stuff work. I know, Patrick, you know I love you, brother, but we gotta hammer that out, Patrick. We gotta hammer that out, okay? I mean, you can call me anytime, but don't call me now. I gotta play this video and then we can talk. Let's go ahead and para ver. This is the video I wanted everybody to stick around for. Spend some time putting this one together. Here we go. Former Joint Chief of Staff Chair Admiral Mullen, he is not too confident about the success of the United States against Iran. And I'm going to explain. Well, I tell you what, I want you to see how he speaks. I mean, the non-confidence come over in what he says. He tries to promote it as being less intense than it really is, but it is. He is. When you hear an admiral speak this way, he's really concerned. I want you to listen to this, and then let's talk about it on the other side.
There's an awful lot in play that we can't anticipate, and certainly that was the case in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I worry about this getting drawn out. These wars just don't end quickly. At least they certainly haven't in the last several decades.
So your biggest concern at this point is not necessarily tactical, it's strategic.
You know, I'm struck, Martha, I look at that 12-day war and how much of their missile inventory was left. I look at the number of targets that I hear publicly, which is over 4,000 targets hit so far, which is an extraordinary number of targets. And yet Iran is still responding. So I don't know how deep their inventory is. I think they want to look as strong as they can. They want to destabilize the region as much as possible, and we will continue, I'm sure, from a military standpoint, to be able to take them out. The objective of keeping them operative only inside their borders is a huge objective, but we're a long way down the line of being able to make that happen. It's not the military aspect of this that I'm concerned about. It's the military objectives in support of an acceptable political outcome that is obviously very much in play and somewhat uncertain right now.
Let me tell you what's going on here. All right? We have been hoodwinked by a defense industrial complex that create all these very expensive equipment for war. Look, all these great technologies that are in these missiles and triangulating to hit a particular ballistic missile, etc. Great. It's great to have that technology, but you also need to know what it needs to be used for and how it can actually be applied. But the defense industrial complex don't care about that. They just want to produce expensive stuff for you, the taxpayer, to pay for, invest in them. And then when you logically say, how are you going to use these things operationally and how are you going to pay for it? They don't know. They don't care. They just build the most expensive things that they can so that they can charge you a lot. Well, when you have countries that come out and say, you know what? We know how to build that technology, but we are also smart. And we are not as, I didn't say they weren't, we're not as corrupt as the capitalists. And what we are going to do is create a counter for what their ineptitude has actually done. And with that comes the Iranian suicide drone. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Iran launched its first large-scale attack on Israel using suicide drones, specifically the model named Shahed 136, which is humorously nicknamed Flying Motorcycle by netizens due to its motorcycle engine that roars during flight. This drone is particularly noted for its very low cost and ability to be used in large numbers. It has an operational range of 1,000 kilometers, is agile in flight, and difficult to intercept. The Shahed 136 drone measures 3.5 meters in length with a wingspan of 3 meters and weighs 220 kilograms. It can carry 50 kilograms of explosives, and its manufacturing cost is only $20,000. In contrast, the cost to intercept it is much higher. Its design is straightforward. The head is fitted with an explosive warhead. The body contains a navigation chip for automatic flight planning and target locking, and the tail houses a 50cc motorcycle engine with a wooden propeller. A small rocket booster under the belly assists with takeoff, and the launching device is a modified ordinary truck that can launch 5 drones simultaneously. These drones typically employ a swarm attack strategy, with multiple launch vehicles firing several drones at once. After taking off with the help of boosters, they fly towards their target at a speed of 200 kilometers per hour at ultra-low altitude, effectively evading detection by air defense systems. Due to their low cost and high destructive capability, using expensive missiles like Stinger for interception leads to greater losses the more are intercepted, while using anti-aircraft artillery is inefficient. The saturation attacks of these drones cause significant damage to the enemy.
Let me tell you in simple terms. In effect, these things are so darn cheap, so easy to build, and so plentiful compared to this high technology stuff of trying to hit them down, that in effect, they are a deterrent. You don't need a nuclear deterrent to have this type of deterrent, because what this says, we can build a lot more suicide drones at $20,000 than you can build each interceptor missile at $4.5 million. And it takes 3 interceptors for every drone that is launched to get you. It shows who is more logical. It shows who is less corrupt. And I really mean that. You may say, can you actually say that the Iranians are less corrupt? Everybody is less corrupt than the capitalist that's out there milking everything out of us. I mean, it speaks for itself. So they throw a whole lot of drones at you, and you are going to try to get each one of these missiles to come and shoot it down. It doesn't work. And then you know what is the other thing? I spoke about this on WBAI this morning. The other concern is that Iran is actually getting assistance from China and Russia. And it is believed, I'm not sure, I haven't completely validated this. I'm looking for corroboration. But supposedly, they have hypersonic missiles that in effect caused our aircraft carriers to head out of Dodge. Instead of being a couple hundred miles off the coast, now 500 miles off the coast of Iran, for the fear that these hypersonic would get through and knock out our aircraft carrier. Folks, when we sit back and not look at the rest of the world, when we sit back and pat ourselves on the back and think we are the best and not learn from everybody else, your best constantly detone itself, deteriorate itself into mediocrity. And you can have the highest, most technical equipment. But if that equipment is overwhelmed, might as well not have it at all. The truth of the matter is this deterrent would say the following: war is stupid. Nobody should go to war. Nobody. And this particular war with Iran was started by the United States and Israel. And we, the people, we, the real Americans, must make sure that no president is able to put us in the dire straits this president and many others have done. And I think we are going to learn a big lesson out of those who will use tactics, critical thinking, and initiative when you have big, blusterous folks believing that they are the big bad ones around the world. Yeah, this is, it is pathetic. It is so simple. It is like, all right, you have to bring all this high technology stuff, and we get an engine. We get a motorcycle engine, attach it to airfoil, put a bomb in the nose, tie it with very good electronics to GPS, and now we send thousands of them out, and you send a $4 million missile to try to find each of us. It makes no sense. And the thing about it is, why they pay them so much in the Defense Department to strategize. Immediately they should say, whoops, Iran got a whole bunch of drones. Look, there are things that I've been saying for a while, right? The aircraft carrier for its current use is obsolete, right? It's only good off the coast of Panama, Venezuela, Jamaica, Cuba, but it's no good off the coast of Russia, China, Iran, and the real adversaries. No good, because they can all knock it out. And we can do the same to them. Just let's be clear here. The problem is Donald Trump is a troglodyte. He is a complete troglodyte. He still thinks in this 20th century modal. Iran, it is clear that these guys have been prepared. They're not going to nobody can beat the United States in a front war. Nobody. We have so much equipment to throw at you, it ain't funny. But we can take a hell of a lot of embarrassing losses. Like, we're sending a third carrier group there. Big mistake. Because that's that's a whole big contingent of targets for Iran. Right? Think about it. Hexatos, they haven't seen anything yet. The massive power that we're going to... Like he's playing a damn video game. Yeah, Patrick, I heard about that. They hit the airport with a hypersonic missile. Look, we are not seeing the reports out of Jerusalem, out of Tel Aviv that got hit. Let me just forewarn you guys of a few things. The early warning detection system for missiles in Israel was taken out. What took them out again? One of these drones. A lot of damage has been done to our bases. How again? These cheap drones in Qatar, UAE, all of them. These small drones can go for what's 0.6 times 2,000, about 1,200 miles. About 1,200 miles, 2,000 kilometers they can fly. And I can guarantee you that they're going to, put a bigger fuel tank on them, fix the airfoil a bit, and have them go further. They're slow, very, very slow, but they get there. They get there. So, look, as Americans, as proud Americans, we did this to ourselves. And I'm talking about the ones who voted appropriately. But as proud Americans, we should do better. E2247 says, now newer Shahed 136 is better and just upgraded to the newest ones are only about 50,000, but the dollar ones are online in huge numbers. What's the difference between the $50,000 ones? What do they do that the other ones don't? I'm curious. E2247, what makes them better? Distance, payload? What's the difference? I'm curious. I didn't look that up. Okay, I just wanted to show the relative difference in the way we do things. I wrote an article that I want folks to read. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull it up real quick, para ver dónde diablo está ese artículo. The title of the article is Class Warfare, Global Genocide. Because I think it is deeper. While we're concentrating on Iraq right now, we've forgotten about Epstein for the most part. We've forgotten that Donald Trump is talking about Cuba next. That's the art. Well, is that there? Let me put it in there again. That's the article that I wrote yesterday afternoon. That I really want to get out there and shared. If you get a chance to read it, please do, and please share it as well. Anyhow, folks, let's see if anybody wants to call in. I don't think I have any more videos. I have the Obama video, but we don't need it. Let's go ahead and give me a call. Number is what's the number? 281-823-7747. Oh, thank you, El Denuf. 281-823-7747. Give me a call. The morning show, we get a lot of calls. I'd like to start getting some calls here. Magner told me that I need to advertise the calls earlier. But Magner, I always forget. Maybe you should come in and say, guys, call in. Let's see what else we got here. Now newer U.S. stat systems, they took out 2 times in the last 10 days, or about 1.1 million, destroyed by $20,000 drone. Yeah, the TAD system keeps getting out. Egberto, if no calls, 1 for the screen. I love when you give me those screen starts, man. Let's see what we got here. No music, right? All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it onto the screen, my dear brother, and then we'll watch it together. Lo vamos a mirar juntos. Lo vamos a mirar juntos. We're going to watch it together. All right, here we go.
Some huge news from the Iran war. It turns out that Donald Trump was accused of raping a 13-year-old girl, and then Pam Bondi hid the FBI interviews with the child from the Epstein files. They say that war is hell, and I don't know if that's true, but I know that war does distract us from the hell that we are in. Some huge news from the...
Thank you for that, Mr. AVQ. Let's see. Don't let war crimes distract from the sex crimes. I agree. Cheryl Elkins left us. She had to go do her duty at the Bridge Brigade. Hey, Cheryl, you great. LBW says Zelensky was trying to tell them about the drone warfare and he's been adapting to, and the U.S. didn't want to hear him. Well, again, that is what happens when you think you're the big bad dog and you don't want anybody to teach you anything. All right, does Israel have the golden shield? Yeah, they do, but it's damaged. They knocked out some of their early detection equipment, knocked out from these cheap drones. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. Para ver qué más tenemos aquí. I wonder how many of those targets in Iran turned out to be decoys. Yeah, the thing about it is a lot, like all these drones, right? Iran wanted to show that they had a lot of them. So you have all kinds of pictures of them on the internet, and you can see them again, for what it's worth, we have the belief that they have a lot. Because if a country is showing pictures of these drones deep in caves, yeah, it's a good chance that it's true, but you still have to take it with a grain of salt. It's still a picture. That could be AI. But the thing about it is, given the amount of drones that continue to fly, that may give it some credence, especially since Israel and the United States say they've attacked over 4,000 targets. If you attack 4,000 targets and these drones are still coming in, tells me you're missing a hell of a lot of stuff. So that stuff about it being about it being what you call it, just decoys, wouldn't surprise me. Okay, let's see who else we've got in the house. Hi, Don. See you there. Meg Grant, see you there as well. If I miss you and you want to be called out, just give me your city and state. I'm scrolling down. Thanks, Don. I knew it was a golden something, and only thing I could think of was Lasso, and knew that was Wonder Woman. That is so funny. LBW says, Commander Cool, Obama's eulogy at Jesse Jackson's celebration live. I have it. You can go to my site to see it. Actually, to see the portion that I kind of liked. Lynette says, Don, and they say we learn nothing watching Saturday AM cartoons. I was only allowed to watch the TV an hour on Saturday. You had a very disciplined parent. All right. Okay, what else have we got here? ABQ says, Egberto, we still have time. Israel being sued for failing to pay 15 right-wing bubble propagandists. Guessing none of them registered as foreign agents influencing our election dark money. Let's see what that is all about. Let's see what that is all about. All right, let's go ahead and put it on. All right, let's go here, there, and let's play it.
For quite a few months now, we've been calling out social media influencers for pushing propaganda on behalf of a specific government entity in hopes that they would receive compensation of roughly $7,000 per post. They've denied it and, quite frankly, shouted from the rooftop, prove it. Well, today, it sounds like there's between 14 to 17 social media influencers who are now looking to sue said government entity because they have not received payment. What these influencers did not know that under United States law, if you are working with a foreign government to influence American public opinion, you fall under the Foreign Agent Register Act, meaning you have to disclose who you are. The money's there, though. It's managed by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's under Project Esther, believe it or not. There's roughly $900,000. It is managed by a middle company known as Bridges Partners, LLC, out of Delaware. All these influencers have to do is disclose who they are. For quite a few months now, we've...
Wow, I like that. I like that. Good. I hope that information is valid, because if that information is valid, that's nice to know. I think you got one more ABQ. Let's see. What is this one about? Oh, Israel's propaganda dictatorate being sued by unpaid activists claiming millions. Wow, that's good to know. What else have we got here? Kematenemaki. That's the same article. Right. ABQ. All right, guys, we are actually close to the end. Let me invite you to call one more time. 281-823-7747. Lita Bearcat says, does Hormuz show Europe feel good energy policy versus America realistic policy using fossils as national security? I don't know what you're saying, but it is preposterous what Donald Trump has done by unhooking green energy in the United States and putting them, it makes absolutely no sense. Like I said, Donald Trump is a troglodyte. And anybody who follows him by reverting themselves back to old forms of technology instead of moving forward, same applies. ABQ Egberto, no, I'm just posting info about the last. Oh, thank you, buddy. And I'm doubling up my comments between FB and Twitch. Restream is down. And you've been telling me that Restream has been down for a while. Not good. What else have we got here? My mom called it the boob tube. The TV, I guess, calling someone a boob back in the day was saying they were not intelligent. Yeah, I guess. Although I wonder why. They always try to. Well, I'm not going to go there. I don't have enough time to cover my butt. All right, CDR Cool says, what are your thoughts on Obama as a humanitarian? Did he fail? All right. My thoughts on Obama are very complex because I always weigh a U.S. president after life through the prism of Jimmy Carter. And none have stood up to Jimmy and Rosalind Carter in my eyes. And let me give you a good example. And look, I understand. Look, Obama is not doing anything Clinton didn't do, anything any of them didn't do. But let me tell you something that irks me. I have friends that were invited when Miss Obama came out with her big book. They were invited to go to have private sessions with her, and they paid a lot of money for that, right? But even when I think Obama came to one of the big venues here, it was still fairly expensive to go listen to her talk about her book. And I thought, and again, I'm saying, if I had a book that's a bestseller, that's going to put out so much, the amount of free events that I would do, I would still have the book for sale for those who want an autographed copy there, and you'd probably sell 10,000 books at a venue that holds that place, right? But still, I would go ahead and try to have it that people could come and see me for free somehow. Because again, it is like it is like even here on Substack, right? I do all this writing. And if you take a look at all the stars that have come to Substack, whether that be Acosta or all of these guys that were laid off from the news media, and they're here now, and they come immediately and they are charging you for everything. If you want to comment on their lives, you have to pay and all that kind of stuff, right? Even though they left their jobs with a lot of money, and here we are, the small guys, right? That we just go ahead and say, look, become a paid subscriber if you can, but we want our information seen by everybody. So we don't, there are very few things that, we'll go ahead and say, okay, this is behind a paywall. I expected that out of people that have means, right? If the small folks like us can see the importance in having people informed and understanding that your information level shouldn't be based on your ability to pay. You know what I mean? So answering your question, it disappointed me that I didn't see a lot of that. And again, like I said, I see all these people through a Jimmy Carter's eyes as a president. And I know some people don't like me to stress Jimmy Carter because, yes, we are all flawed human beings. But of all of them, that's the eyes I see through. And in that regards, he hasn't come close, in my humble opinion. Not even close. No president has come close to what Jimmy Carter had done with the rest of his life. That's my answer. All right, we're at 3:59 right now. Anybody wants can always reach me. info@politicsdoneright.com. info@politicsdoneright.com. Tell me anything, say anything, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You can get the rest of the program, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can become a paid subscriber, which we need. We need a lot. We're not break even yet. You can become a paid subscriber by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And I'm going to put that link in the chat right ahorita mismo, right this minute. There's a link in the chat. There's the link in the chat. If you're on Substack, it's just a matter of clicking to subscribe and becoming a paid subscriber. It costs next to nothing. You don't feel it, but you make a big difference to us if we can get enough people to become subscribers. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right,
I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.